Right. I just got a quick message from Vicky there that she couldn't hear me. I think we're sorted now. No, you still can't hear me. Oh, um, I'm not muted. No. Can you hear me now? All good now. Right. Um, I've just got a message through saying that you can hear me now. Um, okay. I've got a can't hear me, can hear you, can't hear you, no volume, and that we can. Okay. You see, I don't need other people to make a mess of this. I can do this all by my own. I'm glad you can hear me now. Um, what I was saying is that I've got a lot of questions coming in on a daily basis about travel and vaccines. Let me just deal with the travel issues first. Thanks to all of you who are listening in and commenting. It's really helpful. Uh, what I suggest to people about keeping up to date with the travel requirements. Um, I recommend that they go to the gov.uk website and enter travel in Spain. And you'll get coronavirus stuff and you'll get things, for example, like updated entry requirements. And you can go into these and actually find out what the up to date information is about travel into Spain or back into the UK. To be really honest, I can't keep up with this. This is changing on a daily basis. When I spoke recently to Charmaine, the British consul here in Malaga for Andalusia, she said that even they have difficulty keeping up with the changes. So, please, entry requirements of traveling to Spain from outside the UK. There's all sorts of stuff going back into the UK. So please use the gov.uk website to find out exactly what's happening. Okay. Um, with regard to vaccines, yet again, I try to keep up to date with what's happening, but I can't always be buying up to date. And people are saying we've got folks coming over for 3 months for the winter, and they want to know how to get their boosters. These are complications, and well, I suppose one of the things that I would say is that if people need their boosters, should they be traveling? If it's so urgent for them to get it. But there is on the Junta de Andalucia webpage a list of where the mobile vaccination points are. Okay, so for example, if you go into this page, and I will put the links on the YouTube channel on this. It's showing, for example, where in Malaga province the mobile units will be. And there's, for example, Wednesdays, 8:30 to 11:30 in Fuengirola in the fairground. So, the information is there, but I can't always necessarily keep up with everything. So, if I pass you on to some other place for the information, please don't think I'm being lazy, but my brain unfortunately just can't keep track of all the things that are actually happening. There's too many changes, too many things happening all at the same time. I really can't keep track of all of them at the same time. Um, you know, the whole vaccine stuff, and I spend more of my life than I should on Facebook, and it's causing a lot of nastiness and a lot of bad feeling. Um, I obviously have my own views as a personal individual, but I don't really go very far into that on a day to day basis. But, as a councillor here in Mijas, I really try to avoid making statements about this. I think politicians have made a complete mess of this. And instead of having just a left and right in politics, now we have a left and right on this whole vaccine thing. My view is that it is not the role of politicians to either encourage or discourage people in their personal choices with regards to all of this. I'm happy to give information if I have it. This is not about a personal thing. I'm happy to do that. But I think there's plenty of information out there already between television and social media and radio and whatever for people to make their own choices. And, if I can help, obviously I will do, but I'm not going to promote one or the other, either encouraging, discouraging with regard to this. So, what's happening around Mijas at the moment? Whoa. You need to be patient with me because I've got a few pages that I want to try to share with you. Um, we had an announcement this week, and let me just, no, not this one. You just give me a second. I'm going to. We had an announcement this week that 400 trees were going to be planted in Mijas. Now, that's not a bad thing. I like trees. We have lots of trees where we live in our garden, and trees are really the if you like the lung of our communities and our society. So we got this announcement this week that 400 trees are being planted in the zone of the Ippodromo. That's great. But we have to balance this with what's happening elsewhere because very close to it, probably less than 500 meters away, we are having trees cut down in the Chaparral area. This is causing a lot of controversy. I understand that the legalities of urban planning are very complicated. But when we see 400 trees being planted and all of these trees, 20, 30 years old, being cut down for uh, basically building more houses, I think we really need to look at what the issues are here. That this is really quite, for me, it's quite disturbing. Um, I don't mind actually saying that I'm probably a bit of a tree hugger, and I see the value of trees, and I see trees as living things, and cutting them down to build more houses, more pollution, more traffic. I do have a problem with it, and I don't know what the solution is legally, but I know that morally I don't like the idea that we're cutting down trees for more building. We're taking away this lung of our community just so that we can build more houses and create more pollution and more movement. I really find that quite a difficult thing. Um, During the reign of the PP, and I have to say this is not a party political broadcast, but I want to put this into context. During the time of the PP, from 2011 to 2015, 50,000 trees were planted each year. So that's 200,000 were planted, and all of a sudden we're supposed to be pleased that we're cutting down an urban forest and planting 400 trees next door to it virtually. I see that as I don't know, just a little bit on the crazy side, folks. Please use the comments. I see you've got quite a lot of people listening in at the moment. Tell me what you think about this. This area in Chaparral was designated as no, it was agreed to be designated as a sort of urban wood or urban forest. That was never followed through with the Junta de Andalucía. So the people who own the land and who originally planted the trees now have the right to cut them all down again and build more houses. Um, I've had lots of discussions with a lot of people about the sort of whole development in Mijas. A lot of it's happening in the Lacal area. There's a lot happening just around Torrenueva and a lot happening in Chaparral. If you've ever tried to get up to the Chaparral golf course, you'll know the amount of development that's going on there. And it really is quite, for me, it's quite disturbing. I'm not an urban planner. I don't understand the legalities of it, but I am a resident in Mijas, and it worries me that there are thousands, and we are talking about thousands of new apartments being developed in Mijas, and we're not necessarily keeping up to date with all of uh, the infrastructural requirements that go along with that, with the schools. I know there's a new school being built in Las Lagunas, um, but we're not doing that with the health services, with the sanitation, with the supply of water, and I really feel sometimes that we need to draw a line under development for a little while until we can develop a proper plan for dealing with this. Yeah, and there's the traffic issues. I live just outside La Cala, on the road going up to La Cala Golf, and I've seen the vast increase in the volume of traffic going up and down this road. Um, People complain about there not being enough parking in La Cala, but well, it's it's one of these strange things. Yeah, if you want to get parking in La Cala, it is limited. Of course, it is. But actually, I've never visited any of the small towns or villages anywhere in Andalusia that has the volume of parking 5 minutes away from the sort of commercial centre and the beach that La Cala has. We have the Recinto Ferial, which can take hundreds of cars. So yeah, it is a problem. And Lynn, you're saying, yeah, you agree with me. It's happened to the back of Jardín Botánico, 900 residences, we're told. Yeah, this development, I feel, I'm not speaking for my political party, I'm not speaking for the council, but I feel that it's out of control. I know a lot of these areas were designated in 1999 for building, and they were bought as an investment for building, and now is the time that builders want to do it. Um, but I have to say that some of the buildings that are going up, to my eye, are ugly. I have to ask, what do they have to do with this Mediterranean feel? They're just blocks that could be anywhere in the world. They're functional. Maybe they're very nice inside, and maybe the communities are very nice. But for me, aesthetically, they just don't do it. And I would love to see some kind of action taken so that whenever building is going on, that this building makes this feel like the Mediterranean. I want to take photos of this, and people look at it and go, "Oh, yeah, that's the Mediterranean." Not, well, where is it? Um, Denny, thank you very much for saying that you agree with me. People don't need to agree with me, but I really do feel that what's been happening in the last, let's just say, 10 years in La Cala with the building, and I'm thinking La Cala, but I've been over many times, and I've met with neighbors in Chaparral area. I've met with neighbors in other areas, and honestly, I just I despair sometimes. It's completely altering the feel of the place that we live in. Um, and let's be really sort of money minded here. The changes that are happening in some areas are going to affect the prices of properties that are already there, and that's concerning for people who have paid a lot of money for their properties, expecting maybe at some point to sell them and at least break even on it. But what is happening with certain developments is going to lower the prices of the value of the properties that people have bought. If people bought a property opposite an urban wood, and then we find out a few years later that it's going to be blocks of houses that they're facing onto. Obviously, it's going to alter the value of people's properties. And I really don't feel that there's any consultation process that goes on. It's just like they've got the right to do it, they've got the license to do it, so they can do it, and basically hellmen the neighbours whose properties are affected by that. Many people affected in the short term by the building work. It must be a year ago that I went to visit the vice president in Las Farolas, right next to El Chaparral. And these poor people have been living in a building site already for about a year. They're probably going to be living in a building site for another year. And it's like, well, not our problem. I have to say, I do find this quite a difficult issue. And I can see, Denise, that you are very much in agreement with the what I'm saying here. Um, I'd be interested in hearing what your views are. Right at the moment, we've got more people listening to this live stream than normally listen to the council meeting. So, thank you to everybody who's joining in. And please give me your views. I'm only expressing my views on these things. I know there's a lot more to it. There are issues to do with the legalities, the building regulations, the plan, which is already 20 years old and 10 years out of date. Lynn is just saying the dust we get from the building work behind us is horrendous. Lynn, I know. I know. Listen, I went. It must be around a year ago to visit Chaparral. I was there for about maybe an hour and a half, um, with the some of the neighbours there. The vice president, Mike Barker, was there, and when I went to collect my car to go home, I couldn't see out the windows, and the dust was awful. Now, obviously, building sites create dust, and especially here on the Costa del Sol, where everything is so dry. Yeah, of course, they make a mess. But, this costs people money as well. Their swimming pools are full of dust. Their windowsills are full of it. Their windows are covered in dust. Their cars, it's really very it's a very difficult situation. I wouldn't like to live in that. Honestly, when things are going for a long time. Um, Mario's commenting, and this is what I just sort of commented on a little bit, that it was approved in the PGOU. The PGOU is the General Urban Plan of 1999, and the only thing it does is to protect whatever is not classified. That's why it was approved unanimously in town hall to protect the 500,000 meters of the Bosque Chaparral, which is this urban forest. And actually, it was never ratified, as far as I know, with the Junta de Andalucia. Arno, glad you're joining us, Arno, tonight. You'd like to know about new developments behind Torre Nueva. Of course, you want more green instead of building blocks. I think we all feel the same. Um, in you know, I did speak to the urban planning councillor with regard to what's happening behind Torre Nueva, and he assured me that what they're doing is going to improve, the traffic and whatever in that area. I have to say, I'm not convinced. I have major concerns. And yet again, the Costa del Sol is turning into, well, the Costa del Sol, Mijas is turning into one big building site again. Mario, as you've said, and I think I just mentioned this, even though it was voted for, the government has not done anything, and the company Banco Santander has now acquired half of this forest. Yeah, and well, we can assume that if a bank has bought half of this forest in Chaparral, it's not for the benefit of the local squirrels. Um, you know, I really feel very strongly. I've been here 20 years in Mijas. I used to be 2 kilometers away from La Cala. Now I'm 1 kilometer away from La Cala. If I live another 10 years, I think I will be in La Cala with the way things are going at the moment. And I think it's interesting that people, this is not just about, oh, my views being spoiled by this or my views being spoiled by that. You know, people move to Mijas because of the beautiful place that it is to live. And if we just build and build and build and build, we have to ask the question, is it still the beautiful place that we fell in love with and bought our house in, or decided to move our family to live in? And, it does feel that there's no real consultation in this whole process. Thank you so much to everyone who's participating here. Um, I want to, Denise, we have to vote this town hall council out next elections. Bill and Mario would make a difference if they were voted into power. Well, you know, if I had my way, Denise, I would certainly look at every legal way to change things. Even for example, if a piece of land is classified as for development, surely there are other ways we can do things than build flats on them. Um, the if we built a smaller number of villas, that reduces the number of people and the number of demands on our resources as well. Wendy, hi Wendy, saying yeah, new developments everywhere, and parking. Well, they're supposed to be doing things about parking in some areas, but I know I travel around Micas quite a lot, and some areas are a nightmare for parking in Las Lagunas. I really I have to take a deep breath every time I go there because I think, where am I going to get parked? But yeah, the more developments there are, the more traffic there is. People maybe have one parking space outside their house, but a lot of families have two people working, so they have two cars. So one of the cars has to go on the road, and if it's a two-way road, that car on the road is blocking the traffic. I've been up to various areas of Riviera where, one of the lanes is completely blocked by parked cars. So you have one lane for two-way traffic. This is not being thought through, folks. I've tried to raise this with the council, and well, really, where have I got with it? I would say nowhere, frankly. I've tried to raise some of these issues with the police. Get up there and book these cars that are parking on yellow lines because we need to sort this. It doesn't happen. But yeah, I think, uh, I'm not making party political statements here, folks. I'm making statements as a resident of Mijas who's lived in Mijas in the last 2.5 years, been working as a councillor in Mijas. I've been probably pretty much to every corner in Mijas for to meet with people to see what the problems are, and I don't think people are being unreasonable about what they're asking for sometimes. And yeah, there's an awful lot that needs to be done, and the council, they have a majority, so basically they can do what they like, and that's the way it is, folks. And it's an urban jungle, and yes, it's becoming that way very much. It's unrecognizable from when I came. The stuff above Lidl looks like a cruise ship at night. Parking's a nightmare, and trying to park for the post office. Yeah, this is a major problem, man. I know. The Butibamba area. I bought an apartment in Butibamba in the 1990s, and yeah, parking was great in the 1990s. It's a very different story now. The volume of traffic down there now, and with the primary school, if you get there at the wrong time, it is awful. The other thing, and I'm going to criticize them, the hotel. They put I think it's, if I'm not wrong, a €5 per day charge to use the parking in the hotel. People come down there and they go, I'm not paying €5 a day to park in the hotel. So they park in the public parking. So when the hotel's busy, there is no public parking and the hotel car park is empty. I think there's a problem there, to be honest, and something that needs to be really addressed. Ron, nice that you're joining us tonight, Ron. If the construction was only villas, then there would be no need to remove so many trees. Well, yeah, yeah. I'm sure that legally there are things that can be done, but the will has to be there to do it. And frankly, I'm not seeing the will there to do it. I met with residents in Chaparral who there's an area there which has been in private ownership for a long time. It's got trees in it and whatever, and they want to build a sports center right in the middle of it. And we are looking at this, but it is permitted because it was approved, I think, in the 1999 plan. Now, those of you who have been here for a long time know that La Cala or Mijas, a lot of this seems to be focused around La Cala, though, because this is where a lot of the developments are in La Cala, Torrenueva, and Chaparral. La Cala in the 1990s or 1999 is not the La Cala that we have now. This is a very different place. And a plan that seemed fine in 1999 really is useless, in my opinion, for what we're actually dealing with and living with now. And you know, I think we need to be a bit imaginative, not just looking at how much money we can get from building licenses and first occupation licenses. And if you build 20 flats on a place that could take 4 villas, of course you're going to get more money. But we need to look at the environment. We need to look at what we're creating, and I don't think we're creating a better Mijas. I think we're creating a more commercialized Mijas, but it's not necessarily what the people who live here want. And let's face it, we pay for a lot of what we have here, and I don't even know that it's what people who come to visit Mijas want. Denise, it all comes down to greed from the town hall. Well, maybe, yeah. Mijas is the largest and richest municipality in the Costa del Sol. It's certainly got a lot of money. It's still got somewhere in the region of 100 million surplus in the bank. And to keep giving out building licenses is just madness. Yeah, especially when there are urbanizations that have been here for a lot of years. They don't even have a proper connection to the sewage system. I think there's an awful lot that can be done. Yeah, they're trying to do bits here and bits there, but it is. Oh yeah, and you've made a comment, and I have spoken to so many people. Biggest shame is that local people who are priced out and no social housing been built for more than 20 years, to my knowledge. I think there is some VPO housing in the Liminar area, but yeah, families who have grown up here, and I'm not just talking about Spanish families, because there are a lot of um, uh, international families who've come here with small children who are grown up. And the chances of them buying a house in La Cala, the prices in La Cala, in my opinion, and that's only because I'm not selling a house at the moment, have gone crazy. I saw someone asking recently, what can I buy in the La Cala area for 120,000, 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms? And I'm thinking, 120,000, you're lucky to get a private garage for that at the moment in La Cala. And you can say it's supply and demand, but yeah, it is, in my opinion, a real problem. Okay, I've had my rant, and thank you for all the comments that have been coming in here. What I would like to do also, though, is just promote a little bit some of the things that are happening in. Excuse me, I need to mess about with this at the moment. Some of the things that are happening in the next few days in and around La Cala. Um, we've got a lot of events coming on. Okay, so Danielle down at the Casbah, which is a beautiful setting. If you would like to, well, we've got various things here. Let me just, well, let me just do it here. Okay, we have got at the Casbah, Danielle. I hope you have great evenings. Um, we've got actually tonight. We've got the Casbah Live Lounge karaoke night. Tomorrow, the 10th, the Moneymakers are on from 9 till 4 a.m. I'm afraid I'm in bed by 11, but I know the setting is wonderful and people have a great time. And then on the 11th, that's Saturday, there's a funky disco time. Now, we've also got a Christmas fair in the Casbah on the 12th. It says it starts at 7 p.m., but I believe if I can just find this, um, this is going to be a difficult one because I can't play the music on it, or I'll get a copyright issue from YouTube. But let's just see what we've got here. Okay, this is the Casbah on the 12th, and it says that there is the Christmas fair. It's a Christmas fair.
To look a lot like Christmas.
You get that, okay? And according to the this poster, it's actually from 5 o'clock. So there's going to be a Christmas fair on. There's going to be a lot of local people with stalls and things. People who are making jewelry, who are making Christmas decorations, who are doing all sorts of stuff, selling local honey, local produce. If you can get along to that, please do. Um, and there's one other thing I would like to share with you. When Fabienne sent this to me, um, oh, let me just see. Okay, I think I've closed it down. Um, right, let me just see. There is going to be a, a GoFundMe for Ace Animal Rescue. And let me just see. Okay, here it is. When Fabienne from Ace sent this to me, I thought she was talking about me because she said bald and ugly for Christmas. Let me just share that with you. Um, we've got Helen Patricia Barton has organized a fundraiser. She is going to get her hair cut off for Christmas to raise money for a charity. So, if you can support that, please do. So there's a lot going on. I know lots of people have uh, Christmas events and Christmas lunches and all sorts of things. There's probably too many to mention. But keep your eye out on the on social media, and you'll see what's going on. I think a lot of places are already pretty much booked up. But a lot going on, a lot of charity events going on. Please support them if you can. We go along to as many as we can. We can't always go to all the dinners because, frankly, I think that the number of dinners I was invited to in the last month comes to around €700 if both Vicky and I were to go. And I'm afraid that's a bit out of our price range, but we do support where we can the Christmas events and the markets and always get something from there. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope my monologue hasn't been too boring for you, and I hope I've raised some interesting issues for you. Next week we will be here, all four of the presenters from the live streams. We're going to be talking about what we've been doing with the live streams, and we'd like you to join us again and give us suggestions of what you would like to see happening in 2022. Also, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I have my radio show. There's nothing to do with my council job. My radio show on Expat Radio. You can go to Expat Radio, listen live, and I've got two local people on. Corinne Beaton and David Enslin are going to be joining me and talking about life on the Costa del Sol, you know, the good bits and the less good bits. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, and I'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.